please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody, it's Friday, which means it's time for another episode of NHL Remember Him. And today we're going to be looking back on the NHL career of one of the most underrated goalies of the past 20 or so years, Tomas Vokoun. Before we get started, I just ask you to please hit that subscribe button if you're new and give this video a thumbs up. Both of those things help out so much and are much appreciated. But let's get into it here, looking at Tomas Vokoun, who actually had a very, very good NHL career and I think is largely underrated. He was drafted in the 9th round, back when they had a 9th round, 226 overall in 1994 by the Montreal Canadiens. He went on to play start 669 career games in the NHL regular season, putting together a record of 300, 288, and 78, and that 78 is combined ties and OT losses, because at the beginning of his career, ties were still a thing. For the second half of his career, they were not. His career goals against average is a very, very solid 2.55 GAA, and he put together a career .917 save percentage in the regular season. In the playoffs, he only ever played 22 playoff games in his career, and I think this is one of the biggest reasons why Vokoun is so kind of forgotten and underrated in his NHL career, because he unfortunately had to play for a lot of bad teams. In over 15 years, he only ever started 22 playoff games. He had a losing record of 9-13, but he had a spectacular goals against average in the playoffs of 2.24 and an incredible .928 career save percentage in the postseason. So Vokoun started his career with the Canadiens, who drafted him, but he only ever played one game for Montreal. It came in the 1996-97 season, and he didn't play in the NHL again until 1998 with the Nashville Predators, an upstart expansion team, needed a goaltender, and they brought in Tomas Vokoun to be one of their goalies, and he ended up having a very long career and a very good career with the Nashville Predators from 1998 through 2007. For the 2007-2008 season, he went to the Florida Panthers and played there through 2011. He spent the 2011-12 season with the Washington Capitals, and then in 2012-2013, he finished up his NHL career with the Pittsburgh Penguins. But Tomas Vokoun is a guy that put together very good individual numbers over the course of his career on teams that were not so good. And I think that's the biggest reason he's kind of an underrated guy and kind of a forgotten guy, is because he played on so many bad teams. The most playoff games he ever played in a single year came in his final season when he was with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Marc-Andre Fleury got hurt, and he played 11 playoff games for the Penguins in 2013. And he had an incredible 2.01 goals against and a .933 save percentage in that postseason for the Penguins. The other 2 years that he made the playoffs came in 2004 and 2007, both with the Nashville Predators, and they lost in the first round each of those years. So Vokoun did not get the chance to play on many good teams. He did not get the chance to play in the playoffs very often. But when you go back and look at his numbers, he had some incredibly good seasons with the Nashville Predators, 30-plus win seasons with Nashville. He had a 30-win season with the Florida Panthers and put together some very, very good individual seasons with Florida. A .919 save percentage in 07-08, a .926 save percentage in 08-09, a .925 in 09-10, and in 2010-11, a .922 save percentage, all with the Florida Panthers. 4 seasons, they could never make the playoffs once, despite his very good goaltending. His 1 year in Washington, he had a .917 save percentage in 46 games started. Still didn't play in the playoffs. His 1 year in Pittsburgh, which ended up being the last year of his career, lockout shortened season down to 48 games. He started 17 games that season. He went 13-4-0 in the regular season for Pittsburgh in 2012-2013 with a 2.45 goals against and a .919 save percentage. Incredibly good individual numbers, and then he ended up playing the most playoff games of his career that year. But overall, though all 4 years in Florida, they did not make the playoffs. When he was in Nashville, he only made the playoffs twice with the Predators, or played in the playoffs twice with the Predators. So, he's a guy that really got caught on a lot of not so good teams, despite being a very, very good goaltender. And when you look at his individual numbers, his goals against, his save percentages, they were almost always very, very solid. Unfortunately, he just didn't play on many great teams, but he was a really, really solid starting goaltender in the NHL for a number of years. Also a good backup. When he first started in Nashville, he was the backup for a number of seasons before becoming the starter, and he ended his career as a backup with the Pittsburgh Penguins, but he had a lot of good seasons as a starter. He had a lot of good seasons as a backup goalie. He put together very solid numbers throughout his career. He just unfortunately was stuck on a lot of not so good teams, and that is why he ended up being kind of looked over and forgotten when it comes to goalies of the 2000s. And when you go back and look at him, I really think he's largely underrated and was a very, very good NHL goaltender. So that's NHL. Remember him for Tomas Vokoun, a forgotten guy who played on a lot of not great teams but put up very, very good numbers himself and was a very solid goalie in the league for a long, long time. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon, merchandise store, and donation link are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.